being from Kentucky, I remember like coming to California was like a big deal, you know, because I had visited a couple times when I was little, like doing stuff, but you know, driving into it for the first time, I remember that being like, whoa, dude, we are across the country. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And we were like, we can go to the beach. Like, we're going to get in and out. Like, this is great.
Big moment.
It was a big moment, huge moment.
Ever smoked?
I did a dab one time, and it was like the worst experience of my life. But I smoked a little bit here and there, and I've taken like edibles before.
Yeah.
But I just don't really smoke. I mean, it makes my anxiety worse, so I don't do it.
Well, if you're dabbing, that's going to make everything worse.
Yeah, I did it one time. I was working for a band on Warped Tour, and I did it with the band called Omarosa.
Yes.
I grew up with them, and I did a dab with them, some of them, and immediately I was like, this is the worst feeling I've ever had. I would do anything to no longer be high. I would
dude.
pay any amount of money to no longer be high. And yeah, that's my extent of, and I smoked a little bit here and there, but it's just never been my thing.
It's either love it or you hate it, man.
Yeah.
Dabs are too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what that was? That was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You were still in Kentucky.
It would have been like 2014, I think, because I did work. I worked for Omarosa on Warped Tour a year after I had moved to Chicago, which was in I did it when I moved to Chicago in 2014, and then I worked for a band on Warped Tour later that year. So yeah.
And no more dabs.
No more dabs, dude.
Yeah. Well, especially
Ever.
if you're out on that kind of tour, you're like, I'll do a dab.
Yeah,
It's always a dumb idea.
Yeah, I was like in
Always
my area where I was like, yeah, I'll try different stuff or whatever, and like, and then I did it, and I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't need to try anything. Like, I don't care to try any other drugs harder than this. And
good.
Yeah, I smoked like a cigarette one time. Like my nanny when I was little would I'm from Kentucky, and I was like, I want to smoke your cigarette.
Oh, no.
And she was like, yeah, whatever. Like I wouldn't stop nagging her about it, and she like gave it to me, and I took a drag, and I was like, and I never did after that. So no, I've never really smoked anything at all.
That's good. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. Yeah.
And now you have a kid. You don't want to be dabbing around and
Truly not. No. I don't have enough time to be high for that long. Mm-hmm. There's no way.
Stanley Sievers, thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it. So we were going back and forth. So I got to tell you. So I don't remember the extent of it, but I had a dream about you.
Really?
Yes. So you were in my dream, and I woke up. I'm like, I'm gonna contact him.
No way.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. I wish I knew what was happening in your dream.
I know. It wasn't anything weird or bad. It was just like, oh, there's Stanley. Okay. I never met him in my life, but he's in my dream right now.
Yeah, dude. It's a sign. It's a sign.
I woke up and I took that as like a literal sign, because we were talking for a bit, but I was slammed doing something, and then I just had that dream. I'm like, this is like,
got to do it.
Have to. Do you believe in that stuff? Like stuff that you dream about, like, oh, this is does this have any kind of meaning to it?
Yeah, I do when I have dreams. I don't really have dreams very often. And sometimes I'll wake up and be like, I know that I had a dream.
Yes.
But I don't remember it. So it's like, I would believe in the meaning if I could remember it, but I almost never do. I did have like I did have nightmares recently. The first time that I slept, that my wife was away from me with our kid, and she was visiting family, and I had nightmares like every night of like terrible things happening. It was the first time I'd been away from her for that long. And that was the first. I mean, I haven't had like dreams since then, and not really before that. Mostly nightmares. But I do believe in dreams and like their significance.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay, so but I hear that we dream every day, but we just don't remember them.
Yeah.
And there's people that have habits. I should probably start this habit is some people actually wake up, and as soon as they wake up, they start writing out their dream.
Oh, really?
Just so you could like remember, because you're always gonna forget. You know, some like obviously you have like the nightmares that kind of stay with you, and you have a few dreams that will stay with you. But supposedly you dream every day, even if you wake up, you don't think that you dream. I mean,
wow,
crazy.
Yeah, I would do that. I guess I remember sometimes like waking up in the middle of the night, and I had like an idea for like a sketch or like a movie or something, and I would write it down. But it's been a long time since I've done that. I think probably because I'm not really sleeping through the night very often anymore, because I have like a kid that wakes up at all times. But like, that now that you're saying that, I do remember doing that sometimes. But it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I wish I did that more often.
I know.
Probably a lot of stuff I'm missing happening at night.
Totally. We have other lives. When we sleep, we have a whole other life.
Yeah, I wish I knew what was going on.
What a trip, huh?
I know.
That's crazy.
I agree with you.
You ever mess with lucid dreaming?
No, my wife has, though.
Really?
So I've never been able to do it, but she has before. She used to do it when she was a kid, and she talks to me about it.
It's a trip. I've done it successfully a few times.
Really?
You know you're dreaming.
Oh, that's when you know that you're in the dream, and you know it's a dream, and you can do whatever you want.
Yes.
Okay, then maybe I have done. I thought lucid dreaming is like when you can go to a place, or whatever. But maybe that's like some other type of like TikTok dream thing that people are like finding out about now. But okay, I think maybe I've known that I was in a dream like one time. And I don't remember what happened.
Only once? Really?
Yeah, but I feel like one time I realized that I was in a dream, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in a dream. I can control the shit.
Yeah, you go like,
and then it was over. It was like I woke up. Yeah, missed opportunity.
Yeah, that's like that's the key. I'll be successful at it every once in a while. So I guess like the key is to stay calm once you find out you're in a dream, because you want to freak out. And also the other thing is check your because there's signs that will tell you like you're dreaming. Like for me, that worked was check your watch or check your phone, because it won't say the time.
Really?
So if you're dreaming, you're not going to see any clock till the right time.
Oh yeah, because also in your dreams, you never like really have a phone in your dreams, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Because you never, like most of the time, like anytime I've ever had a dream, I've never been on my phone.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Wonder why that is. I don't know.
Why is that?
Also, you check your watch. I feel like you would have a watch in a dream, but not a phone. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I wonder if people that grew up with phones, like smartphones and stuff, do have them in their dreams. Because I didn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we were like old enough to where I feel like when we first started dreaming,
there wasn't
phones. But now it's like, okay, maybe we got locked into there not being phones in our dreams early on. I don't know.
I wonder what it's like to be like a younger person and to growing up with the phone. I can't imagine.
No, dude. I truly think that it's a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because I'm inclined to like believe that I'm at an advantage to growing up pre-internet and internet, but I do think that like I don't know how old you are, but I'm 33, and like there's never gonna be another generation that knows what it's like. There's only a few that know what it's like to have no internet, and then to have internet, and then be young enough to like still understand things. Like I feel like I know that people younger than me can probably use apps and stuff slightly better than me, but not a crazy amount. Like I still understand how to use technology and everything. Whereas like my parents are like, they're not as plugged in to like technology, like boomers and stuff. Or sometimes it's like they don't really understand it because they really didn't grow up with technology.
Yeah, you're talking like 40 to 50, like no phones.
Yeah.
When they got the TV, that was like a fucking mind blowing thing.
Yeah. I remember my dad telling me a story about when he walked into his office and he was like at work one time and he was like, "You guys heard about this internet thing?" And his boss was like, "It's not gonna last."
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "Yeah, we'll see." And then it's like, and then obviously the internet it did last. It lasted.
A lot of people wanted it to fail.
They did, yeah. I kind of honestly, some days I'm like, maybe it should have. I don't know. I feel like life could potentially have been better some ways, but I don't know. I feel like now we're in the second wave of the internet where it's like it was really good for a long time, and now it's like we're seeing what it can be like when it starts to become really like crappy. You know, like
Sure.
all the social media apps kind of are starting to get worse, and then it's like
Slowly,
and
Yeah.
then you have like bots everywhere, and like because isn't there something I heard like a figure about like some insane percentage of web traffic was all just like bots or like AI web crawlers. It's like you're just, I guess what I'm describing is the dead internet theory. Have you ever heard about this?
Dead internet. No, I haven't.
So it's like, I guess the theory is that eventually there will be so many bots and so much AI like crawling every website and watching every video that it's mostly just like bots creating things for bots and bots interacting with bots and responding to bots and like comments and like whatever, all this stuff.
Wow.
And the amount of people that you're actually interacting with is like so minuscule that eventually there will have to be like a second internet or something just for like regular people. Yeah, because eventually it'll just be like all bots. And I don't know, this could be stupid, but it makes sense to me. I'm like, you never know now. You're reading things that these could all be bots. All these people could be bots. I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
It's true. It could be. It could be. We got live pizza.
Yeah. Live pizza.
Can you just put it on the? Oh, Jake, can you actually grab it, please? Don't force him on the camera. My goodness. that is for you.
Oh, perfect, dude.
Yeah, I've always wondered about the bots. My dude, am I talking to you like a real person?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. There we go. Boom.
Domino's. We were talking about how I'm technically a Papa John's loyalist, which is like a lot of people hate on Papa John's.
Yeah.
I worked there during the time I was touring, and I worked at Jimmy John's when I was touring.
Yes.
So I'm like pretty loyal to Papa John's, but yeah, I'm gonna have some Domino's because I do know that Domino's has the fire crust.
It does. So your whole band work at Jimmy John's, right?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody did, and Emerosa too. So we were pretty much the two bands that were touring from Lexington at the same time, and so we would kind of cover each other's shifts when the other band was on tour.
Yeah.
And so we would get back from tour, and typically they'd be leaving or whatever, and we would just like take their shifts, or they would take ours and we're gone. And our manager at the time was cool. He just was like, whenever we were off tour, we would just pick up shifts wherever. And most of the people that worked at Jimmy John's were kind of like degenerates. So they were like, I don't care about working. You can have my shift. You can have all my shifts this week. You know,
Yeah.
It's like they don't care that they're not making money. So we'd be like home for like 2 weeks and just work like 40 hours like of shifts and like delivering Jimmy John's and then leave again. It was great. Really good job for touring. I don't know if it still works that way because Jimmy John's is more corporate now, but because they used to have more like locally owned stores. I think most of them are all corporate now. Because we were like locally there, and I remember at the time I was making like when minimum wage was like $5 something an hour, I was making like $7.50 an hour plus tips.
Dang.
Because usually delivery drivers would make like $3.50 an hour back then plus
Yeah.
tips. But my manager was like, "You guys are making $7.50 an hour, whatever." It's like it's probably why corporate eventually came in and like took them over. But
Yeah.
it was a good job for a while. I mean, I was making pretty good money delivering sandwiches.
Sick. So when was the last time you ate there?
Jimmy John's?
Yeah.
When my wife was pregnant, like last year, we ate it all the time because she
Really?
like craved it constantly. I like Jimmy John's. Anything with a John's at the end, I'm typically eating. I feel like I'm a fan of Jimmy,
Papa John's.
Pip Papa, the Jimmy. Any fast food with a John's at the end, I'm partaking in. I would say.
You're in.
Yeah, I'm in. You know.
Yeah. I mean, so was this with Dead Icons?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you have a long. It's kind of crazy where your life has gone because I mean you started listening to hardcore bands when you're going to shows when you're 12, 13, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Absolutely. You did your research. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah, cool, man. I was wondering because Lexington, like that, I don't remember. I remember Manchester Music Hall.
You probably played Louisville because Manchester, I think. Oh no, Manchester was Lexington, I think.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So you played there?
Mm-hmm. Whenever I need music gear, I always go to sweetwater.com. If it's mics, headphones, or studio and recording gear, Sweetwater has you covered. Next time you need any music gear, support the podcast by using the link in the description and comment section below. Mm-hmm. I was wondering, what was the venue there?
There was like Manchester Music Hall. There was oh man, there was another one that I saw. One of my first like big shows was I saw Unearth and Nora and some other bands. I forget the name of the venue, but we had a big venue that was like that would have done the tours like Unearth and stuff like that, and like back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it. They have a yeah, I guess Manchester Music Hall is there now. It wasn't around then.
Okay.
It's relatively, well, I guess new in the last like 10 years, but new for me,
of course,
having been like from there for a long time.
Okay. And you would go to Cincinnati. You had a close friend that would just drive you to far away to shows.
Yes.
That's a good friend.
Yeah.
If you have someone that's going to drive you to shows, dude, you're in.
Dude, I know.
You're in, dude.
I realize now, like, how lucky that was. Like, I just had multiple friends that were a little bit older than me that would just pick me up and take me to shows. And my parents were like really cool about it. They were like,
he's not doing drugs. He's fine.
Yeah, literally, as long as he's not doing drugs, he's fine. So, just like go nuts. I don't care when you come back, just as long as you're not doing drugs or whatever. And
yeah,
they didn't care.
Yeah, you say the mom and dad. I'll do them in 10 years from now, but right now,
yeah,
I'll be safe.
And 10 years from now, I'll do a dab on Warped Tour and regret it immensely. Mm-hmm. But until then, I'm not going to do any drugs.
Did you take on? So you're straight edge as a kid, right?
Yeah, I was straight edge from 14 to 18.
I'm proud of you, man. 4 years.
Yeah, I did a pretty good 4-year stretch.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I drank a PBR at my friend's house at 18, and I was like,
nice.
I was like, I don't really like the way beer tastes, but this is like, it's good, it tasted. It was like it went down cold,
Yeah.
But I just sort of realized like I don't really like the way most alcohol. I'll have one, but I don't know. I just didn't really like I don't really like the way most alcohol tastes. I just found that I don't prefer it. Like
Okay.
I like whiskey or bourbon, but I really only drink it like on special occasions. Like my mom really likes it a lot, and so I'll drink it with her when I visit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I think also during COVID, I just completely lost my taste for alcohol almost completely. And then
what a great habit! Wow, a lot of people went the opposite way.
Dude,
I did.
Yeah, you did. You were like,
I went straight into wine, dude. It was so many wine bottles.
You got the California wine out here though. That did they have the natural wines then? Like the orange wines and stuff, or is that newer?
I don't even know what we were drinking, dude. I mean, we are surrounded by vineyards and shit, like in Temecula, in that area. But it's just we'll have like the $4 bottles. We'll have like, let's get like a nice one, get like a $45 bottle.
Yeah.
But man, it was like shit. It creeped back in there, man. The alcoholic in me came back.
Yeah.
Crazy how it just came back but for
Are you in recovery or are you?
No. I stopped getting blacked out drunk every day when I was 26.
Good for you, man.
Thank you. I'm 38 now, so Pandy was 3 years ago. So yeah, mid-30s, it came back. So weird.
Yeah.
I thought, dude, I haven't even had years, not even a thought or a urge to drink during a day or during a week. But,
wow.
But when COVID hit, it was, I don't know what happened. Like it was like a mental switch. Oh, you want? Oh, it's Monday. Go out and get wine.
Dude, the rules were
Sucks.
out. The rules were out during COVID. I mean, I was living in New York when it happened.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
It was terrifying. It was crazy. But it was like, yeah, I mean, I truly, every day, my wife and I were just like terrified, but it's like the rules were out, dude. Like you just had to get through, like, you never experienced anything like that. You have to get through it like however you can, like I don't blame, I mean, yeah, I don't blame.
No one knows what to do. Like what's like the right thing to do?
Yeah, dude. And a lot of times, like some days where I was like, the world's ending, brother. Like I don't know what happens next. The power
Yeah.
goes out, and we have like 14 cans of beans. Like, what? I don't know what we're doing. Like, I might as well order another, order takeout again from this restaurant so it doesn't close. Like, it's my favorite restaurant. Like, please, just didn't know what was going on.
Fuck. Now it's funny how it's like a distant past now. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, it does feel like a distant past. I think that there's like I'm big into theories. There's a theory that it's like a traumatic event that we never really like processed and got through. So it's kind of like everyone just like wanted to forget about it, but so people haven't really forgotten about it or haven't really actually processed the trauma of it, because like how could you? But yeah, and it sucks because there's still like it's still around, and there's still people that are like immunocompromised that are like at risk, but it does feel like it's just kind of like, now it's over, right?
So weird.
It is really weird.
Yeah, if you think that you were in New York, then you went to Richmond, then California, correct? And
Yeah.
now we're in a room together in person. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny. It just seemed like a like
Yeah.
that this wasn't possible at some point.
Dude, I know.
So
I remember
weird.
moving from New York to Richmond, because in New York it was like completely locked down, never be inside with other people. And then we're driving to Richmond, and we get into Richmond, and people are like in restaurants, because this is like Virginia. And we were like, dude, we were like, get the fuck out of there. We're like, my wife and I were like, someone's got to tell them about COVID. We got to get the fuck out of there. Get out of there. You're going to die. Like
It's a different place.
because we had come from like a DMZ, I felt like, in New York, where people are like dying all the time, and we're going to Richmond, and people are like eating at Applebee's. I'm like, yo, what is happening, dude? We were like, we got to save these people's lives. And it was crazy to go from New York to Richmond, but I'm very glad to be in person with people again. It's really weird to think that was not that long ago.
It really wasn't. It's only like a couple years ago.
No, it was like one president ago, which is crazy to think. It feels like 10 years ago.
It was one president ago. That's a good way to gauge time.
Yeah.
That was like one or two presidents ago.
Yeah, especially like if you're counting relationships. How many presidents did the relationship last,
Yeah, that was like 2 ex-girlfriends ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like 10 years of hell.
Yeah.
Well, first, so you're in Kentucky. You have your band. Some of the band members are starting to transition probably into like real life.
Yeah, real life.
So, so then where did that leave you? You were like you say you were bummed out. Like so what really prompted Chicago? I'm moving to Chicago.
I had been there. I'd visited there, and I watched an improv show at Second City. It was like couldn't get into the main because I don't know if you know much about like comedy or improv there. It's in like Chicago. There's like Second City, which is like where a lot of people like Steve Carell and a lot of these people had like studied at. And then so I was visiting, and I ended up watching like a kind of a small show, and I'd never seen improv before. And I was like, whoa, this is like crazy. It's really funny. It's like in the moment, and it felt like the way playing music felt to me. Like very like in the moment, like with the audience, like performing, like getting that immediate reaction. And that since I had stopped touring, I couldn't replicate that feeling like of playing shows and getting the immediate reaction and feedback from the crowd. And that was the closest thing I could find. I had found in like several years, and plus I was wanting to do more film stuff, and I'd used like every actor that was in Lexington, where I was from. There's like 3 actors, I used them all in 2 projects. And I was like, all right, I think I'm done here, and I was like, I got to go somewhere where there's more actors, and I want to learn, and I want to get better. I want to get better at everything. I'm not going to get better being around people that, haven't done the stuff I want to do. I want to be around people that I can learn from, and will push me to be better. And that's why I ended up choosing Chicago, because it felt like it was an easy move. It's 6 hours from where I was from. I liked improv, and I wanted to get better. That's basically it. Like I wanted to get better at filmmaking, at comedy, and all that stuff. That's kind of like what I wanted to do next.
Okay, so did you go to Chicago from touring?
So after touring, I had a year where I worked at Jimmy John's only. I lived at my mom's house, and I played Call of Duty Black Ops till 4 a.m. every night. I think that I needed that
Amen.
year. Yeah. I had about 1 year where I did that, and I was like, I gotta do something. I cannot keep doing this. It was like I'd work at Jimmy John's from 5 till 3 a.m. I'd get home. I'd start playing Call of Duty at 4 a.m. I'd play for like 3 hours until the sun came up with the people that I worked with at Jimmy John's. And then we would all go to sleep, and we wake up at 4 p.m. to get to our shift at 5.
Oh, that sounds fucking terrible.
At the time, it was great. But I did it for a year, and I had a good time. And then I was like, I'm good. And then I started kind of like sort of interning. There's like an ad agency in Lexington that did like little shoots or like photo shoots or video shoots and stuff. So I kind of sort of interned there and helped them on stuff. So I kind of got the bug from film stuff from that. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to go to college. These people are just working and they didn't go to college. Like, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to go to college. I never wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what I started doing. So when I moved to Chicago, I kind of started crewing a lot. Like I did like art department, grip, PA'd on a lot of stuff, commercials and whatnot. But yeah, I totally forgot what your question was. I just started going. But
yeah, we're just going, dude.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so it's cool. Yeah, you were taking improv classes. It's such a random, it's also, Jay, can you go back?
Whoa, you got me right here. Yeah, this is at a solo show that I did.
Okay, so these are one of your earlier videos. So this is Chicago, right?
Yeah, this is at IO Theater. This is crazy that I'm like right here. Whoa, videos of me.
That's okay. So what exactly? So it says solo sketch comedy. So what exactly is happening here?
So this is like I did a solo show with my friend where I did like 25 minutes of like characters, basically like characters that I wrote and would perform in front of an audience. It's kind of like, it's like what people do. Like if you ever see like an SNL audition, people are doing characters to like audition for SNL. That's what I was like doing this stuff for at the time. And the show I named, the name of the show is called People I Hope Aren't Real. So I just wrote a bunch of characters, then I did like a show. Because I was performing these a lot. I was performing these a lot at like little shows, like just kind of tweaking them and like improvising them and, figuring out the beats and what worked and what didn't work. Because eventually I wanted to audition for SNL or turn it into something that I could film or whatever. But yeah, this is crazy. I haven't even thought about this in a long time. This is awesome.
Wait, so this was 25 minutes? Or you had...
Yeah, I have a full 25-minute show.
And so this is improv. So do you have ideas in your head that, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about, or are you allowing space of like whatever's going to come out?
So it started off, so like this character would start off as like improv, and I would do it a few times, and I'd start figuring out beats that ended up being written. So then eventually I would write it through improv. So I would like do it a bunch of times, keep things that I liked, like beats that I liked, and then eventually I have a fully written thing. That's kind of the way that you learn to like write comedy in Chicago is like you start by improvising it and then you keep the parts that are funny or that you like and get rid of the parts and you just keep doing it over and over again. So I would do these characters 2 or 3 times a week at different shows. Like,
wow.
There's like a bunch of shows there that people all can come up and you get like 5 minutes or whatever and you can perform stuff, whatever you want. So I would do stuff like that and gauge the audience reaction. And so I'd perform stuff like this a lot, working on it, eventually trying to audition for SNL. That was like my goal at the time. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it really like helped me. And now we got the Jimmy John's up. Hell yeah, dude.
And what's crazy about that is, so you didn't have any stage fright. You didn't have any struggle with that. I mean, that is like terrifying.
Really?
That is like terrifying.
You've played festivals, presumably to like a billion people. You're scared of doing that?
When it's just you and you're talking, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
I didn't have any stage fright from playing in a band.
That's
I think
crazy.
that the biggest hurdle that people have is like is with doing comedy is like the stage fright. I think sometimes like just being like perceived and like what if people don't think I'm funny or whatever. And don't get me wrong, like I've done a lot of unfunny stuff. Like the stuff doesn't hit sometimes or whatever. And like
it happens. Yeah.
it happens. It is what it is. Like you kind of have to like, it's the same thing with music. Like sometimes you have to like write a song that sucks. You're like, fuck, I can't like figure this song out. And then eventually you figure it out, or that song leads to a better thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of bad improv, a lot of like bad character, not bad. I guess I just hadn't figured it out yet. But you have to I had to do a lot of bad improv to get to the point where I was like good enough to perform at theaters there, like on like house teams there. It's like a team I was on a house team at IO Theater, which is like a team that would regularly perform like every week for audiences like that, like paid to be there, So you had to be like pretty good. And so I would, this is crazy. So I'm doing this in front of an audience of like maybe like, I don't know, 40 people. I don't know.
Oh, I can't. No.
But the thing about it is like one of the biggest, I think with anything, even with music and stuff too, it's like once you get good enough to learn how to have fun, it becomes a lot easier. So like in my opinion, at least. So it took me several years to get good enough at it where I'm having fun. Then once I'm having fun, once you're having fun, people see you having fun, then they have fun because they want to be entertained. Like people want to laugh. They want to have fun. They're out like, especially something like this, they're out for a night, they want to have fun. But if you're not having fun and you're like, oh, fuck this. Oh, it's not going good. Yeah. Oh no, oh no, this didn't hit. It's like, no, like just stay in it. Like stay committed to it. If something doesn't hit, just keep going. Like don't blame the audience or don't like show that you're not having fun anymore. Like these people are here watching you. You might as well have fun, So that's kind of like what I have. That's kind of my philosophy in general is like I try and do what is fun for me. And like this, like I'm having a great time doing this right now.
So
like
is this process like you were kind of getting your feet wet like in 3 years, you said?
Yeah, it took me. So I moved there in 2014. I was like really just kind of grinding it out for like 2 years. Like I was doing improv like 4 or 5 nights a week, probably.
Wow.
Like shows, like random like shows or classes or whatever. So I did a lot of it.
You were really trying, man.
Yeah, really. I was really going for it. Yeah, so this is kind of like exactly like characters like this. Like I loved SNL. I liked like Jim Carrey. I loved him. Like I loved all this stuff. Like I wanted to do that kind of thing. And sorry, I keep almost burping and I don't want to do it in the mic.
I'll make it louder. It's fine.
Okay. Great. So I was going for it. I really wanted to do that. And I thought that at the time that I was like, I don't know, this seems like a good goal to have. My goal was like just to do a real audition in front of like SNL producers. And that's like, I knew that that's about as much as I could control. Like, I can't control if I get on the show or not, but I can control having the best written material and perform material that I can. So I was like, I'm just going to grind it out. And I knew from being in a band that you have to grind it out for a long time to get to where you want to go. Cause I was like, okay, well, I was in a band for 4 years and right before we broke up, we just started to do the things that I wanted to do.
Oh, fuck.
So it's like, we started to do it the year before we broke up so I knew it was like, okay, I can give this at least 4 years of grinding with almost no, like getting anything back from it. Like I could just completely be figuring this out for 4 years and suck at it or whatever. Before things start happening. It's like, all right, well, I'll just give it 4 years, and then to be safe, I'll give it like 10. If I really like it after 4, I'll give it 10. And then I think around like 2 or 3 years is when I really started like figuring it out, having a lot of fun. And then the 4th year I was in Chicago was when I was like performing a lot at the theaters, and I was shooting a lot of my own stuff and writing stuff and directing things. And but that year I kind of figured out that there wasn't really nothing left in Chicago that I wanted to do that I couldn't do in New York or LA. And my wife and I, we had just met basically, and we were like, well, we'll move to New York. So yeah, we moved to New York after knowing each other for a year. So yeah.
That's who made that decision?
We both did. Actually, on our first date, we were like, she was like, oh, I want to live in New York someday. And I was like, oh, me too. And then we kind of just like kept it going like through our relationship.
The first date, you both said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, you know, like down the line, we were like, okay, like her lease was up and my lease was up. And we're like, let's just move to New York. Like, why not? You know what I mean? We got to figure it out if it's going to work somehow, whatever.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, at least we're both in a city that we wanted to be in. So whatever, we did it. And I would say that you probably shouldn't do that because, you know, there's a lot of growing pains during that. But we're still together and we have a kid and we love each other. And she's like my best friend. So
congrats, man.
It's great. Thanks.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think it worked out for me. Would say it's probably not the best way to go about things or but whatever.
During that first date, because sometimes they say like, oh, like I knew. Like, did you? Okay, I really, really like this girl.
Yeah, I knew immediately.
You knew? Okay.
Yeah, immediately.
It's funny when you're a man, like you know.
Yeah, no, I was like, I know immediately, like for sure, and I think she did too. It just like kind of because of her past, she was kind of scared about like knowing that feeling. But I was like very much like a golden retriever. Like, yeah, I know. Like, nothing bad can ever happen. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, what bad things could ever happen? Like, this is great.
Fucking heartbreak and loss of everything.
Yeah. I was like, whatever. Like, you know, I'd been in like one relationship prior, and like it was like not, by all intents and purposes, like not like a relationship where you're like really like talked about things and like worked through things, you know, that as you have to do in a relationship that you.
How long was that one?
Like under a year. So it's not.
It doesn't even count.
Doesn't even count really. Like.
So this is like your first real relationship.
Yeah.
And you knew, and we're going to New York.
Yeah. Yeah. And we moved in with her sister at the same time.
Wow. What? And with sometimes, man, it's when you really like someone or you know that you love them, yeah, you'll just do things.
Dude,
it's cool.
You'll do
sometimes, and sometimes it works.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you have to just do things. You have to try. I'm a big believer. Like, you got to just like, you got to do things. You got to try things, because you never know like what that thing is going to lead to or whatever. And it's like, just trust your gut. Like, my mom has always instilled like big in me to trust your gut, and like my gut was telling me that was the right thing to do. And so I followed it, and I follow my gut on pretty much everything, like intuition or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I believe that you just have to try things, you know, because I don't know, you're only here for a certain amount of time, and like there's no point in. You never know like what it's going to lead to, you know. You don't lose anything by trying stuff, you know.
True.
Like, you didn't have to like start a band, you know. It's like, well, I don't want to, like, I can. I don't know, maybe the band, no one's going to care about my band. I'll just like play guitar at my house or whatever. It's like,
it is this weird thing. There's no like, there's big decisions you make in your life that just requires you to not have a rational mind.
Totally.
It's so weird. Like, the big decisions in your life that really change, like, they just don't, like, you got to turn the brain off, it's I know it makes no sense, but there's like, but the rational mind will stop you.
Yes.
From making the leap that you want to make.
Yeah, well, you have to be like slightly delusional to try and do things. Like, you're like, yeah, I want to like be in a band that tours all the time, and like I want to be like, at the time, like my goal for like Dead Icons was like, oh, I want to be like a household name, like hardcore band or whatever. Like, we stopped before we got to do the things I wanted to do, but
yeah,
who knows if that would have happened? But in my mind, like, that's what I wanted to do, and then I was like, okay, that mindset got me so far, and like. So now when I'm doing like comedy and film stuff, like my goal is this or my goal is that. And like, I'm just going to trust in myself and keep betting on myself. And yeah, I think that's all you can do, really. I mean, you have a choice to do it or you have a choice not to do it. And to me, not doing it sounded worse, you know? And yeah, you definitely have to be a little bit delusional to bet on yourself over and over again for stuff, you know, especially when it can take years of not really getting any return on anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure you've played like shows that there's no one there. It's like, you know, early days you're playing shows and no one gives a shit or whatever. And it's like, God, like I should just like drive my van off the cliff, you know, like this is not going to work. Like, you know, whatever. But you just like, no, I know something is here. I'm going to keep going, keep like pushing and keep betting on myself. And yeah, like that's really the only way you can get places, you know, I think, be a little bit delusional.
It sounds like you've always followed what you wanted to do, like create crazy moves at different states of relationships, and now, I mean that, and obviously worked because I mean that led you to here, California. You know, what actually really prompted that move? So
we had moved from New York to Richmond during COVID because.
Expenses, Jesus.
Yeah, well, my wife had lost her job during COVID, and I was the only one so I was the only one that still had a job. I was working for a tech company at the time, doing like technical support, like helping. I was like working at this lock company that was not even around anymore. It's called Latch, but I was like helping people fix these like smart locks or whatever, like on the phone, like technicians. Anyways, so I still had my job. So my wife lost her job, and we're like, well, shit, like our lease is coming up to renew. We don't have time. Like to hope that the economy comes back or whatever, like we have to move somewhere where we can live off of what I make alone. And my company was like fully remote at that point. So like, all right, well, whatever. We'll move to Richmond. It's 6 hours away. We can't do anything anyways. Like we can't there's no point living in a city when you can't do anything anyways. So we're just going to move to Richmond. And like, so we were there for 2 years. And then once COVID was over, we're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? We're going to move back to New York? Like, we already lived there for 2 years. Like, we don't, like, it's, you know, I don't know. Let's move somewhere we haven't been before. You know, my wife knew that I, like, wanted to be in either New York or LA. And we were like, okay, we planned on being in New York for the rest of our lives. And then this happened. So maybe it's a sign for us to try somewhere else for a while. And if we don't like it, we can always move back to New York or whatever. So it was kind of her idea to move to LA. And so we moved out here. And during COVID, I had been doing like I had been like on TikTok and doing stuff like that. And then kind of started to figure stuff out. And then I got out here and kind of like coincidentally, that's when a lot of things started working, which is cool, timing wise. But
whoa.
Yeah, so she was kind of the one that like initiated the move here. But yeah, we were both like, well, we don't want to move back to New York. We were already there. And it's like, we already did it for a couple of years. We know what it's like. We don't know what LA is like. Let's see what's up with it.
Damn, just started listening to Graham Nash, and he just went to California.
I love Graham Nash.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man.
It's that song, Simple Man? Right?
Yeah, great song.
Yeah, you talk like when you're going through a major transition in your life, like you always put that.
Yeah, Songs for Beginners by Graham Nash. If you're out there, and I'm gonna look in the camera, which one? This one is probably
that's you. Yeah, that's you right there.
If you're going through a breakup or a transition or whatever, you got to put on Songs for Beginners from Graham Nash. Play it on vinyl if you can.
Oh wow!
From beginning to end, and just lay on the floor, stare at the ceiling, and I promise you, it will make you feel better. Or it might make you
cry.
It might make you cry, but maybe you need to cry. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So that's the best. And then I'm going to credit my friend Eli Mandel, who that's a beautiful album. Amazing. My friend Eli told me about it. He was going through a breakup, and then he was like, I listened. His mom told me about the album, and then he told me about it because we were moving, and so it's a perfect life transition record. It's
interesting.
It's great, and first of all, I love Crosby, Stills, Nash, but that's my favorite non-Crosby, Stills, Nash record. It's so good.
Did I say that right? Graham Nash?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all need like that record, that song or record that you put on, just for like, I don't know, if you're sad or you're kind of going through like, you kind of need like you're going to like a new era in your life.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's just nice. It's nice to have that. You know, life gets heavy, man.
It does.
You know?
It does get heavy. I mean, you know, I'm 33. I feel like you're 38. Like when I was on my 20s, like now looking back, it's like I'd really not experienced like shit, you know, like, and now that I'm 33, it's like, I feel like some of the hard realities of life and like, it's hard to explain.
It's hard to creep up. Yeah, you can't really explain it, but it creeps up.
Yeah, over time, and you're like, God damn, dude, I just been like getting beat up, you know, for like. And then you're like, all right, am I gonna keep going or like, what am I gonna do, you know? But yeah, there are some times that some music I think I really didn't understand until I was like past 30. I think like I didn't really get Typo Negative until I was past 30.
Yeah.
I didn't really get Life of Agony till I was past 30, and I really didn't. And I listened to Crowbar a lot in my 20s, but after 30, I was like, whoa, like Crowbar hits hard now. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, some bands like that I really didn't like. In different phases of your life, like this music like meets you in a different place, you know. Do you have bands like that? Like that you didn't get till like after 30 or until a certain point?
Yeah, I tend just to fall more in love with the OGs. That kind of where I go.
Yeah.
Like I just fall more in love with like Seven Dust. I don't know what that one band. I don't know what it is. I just keep like, man, I love this band.
That's
like,
rad.
Just keep going and keep going. It's a record. I say we're talking about transitional records. Mine is Animosity. Sad, happy, lost.
Seven Dust record,
stoked.
Animosity?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never
sick.
listened to Seven Dust.
Oh, you
literally never listened to it.
Dude,
Yeah.
You gotta fucking get in
I
there.
know. I should. Now you're recommending it to me so hard. I feel like I got it. I'm gonna listen to it on the way home.
Yeah, dude, that's a fucking sick record, dude. You could probably mosh to this record.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it pretty hard?
Yeah, it's heavy. I would fucking crowd cook for that for sure. It's fucking sick, dude. So you were already dabbing into like social media stuff when you were going to move to California, right?
Yeah, I'd already gone viral a bunch of times for like a. Oh, sorry. I haven't even eaten pizza yet, and I'm like burping like crazy.
Let's go.
I'd already gone viral a bunch of times for another series that I did, which was like just basically I was just talking about like ways I try and support my like witchy wife because my wife's into like stuff like that, metaphysical stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And like people really liked that and connected with it, but I did it so much that I burnt myself out on it, and I just stopped doing it, and I don't know, I just kind of I got burnt out on it. So I'd already gained a bunch of followers from that, and I was finishing up a short film called Samurai Sword. I see it's playing.
There you go.
So I'd finishing up that. That
good.
was like, I was like, okay, I want to like write something, direct something, and like star in it. I wanted something that's like my voice completely.
Yeah.
Like I want to make like a project, like a proper short film, like 20 minutes or whatever. And so I was doing the social media stuff. And then once I got here, I was like back around the people that I would collab with a lot in Chicago, like some of my best friends that I would like perform with a lot or like write with or whatever. So I kind of started, I was like, I got to do something different. And I was like, just started writing characters that I wanted to do. Cause I was like, for a long time, I was doing stuff on TikTok or whatever that, like, I think the reason I burnt myself out on the first series is because after a while, it was like I didn't want to do it. I was just doing it because like, people liked it. And I was like, okay, like I learned my lesson there. Like I didn't want to do that anymore. So I should have stopped. And then, or at least took a break until like I liked it again or whatever.
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson there. So then when I got out here, I was like, okay, I want to do stuff that I like. I want to like write or perform, create characters and edit videos in the way that I want to do that I think is funny. So that's what I started doing. And obviously the Mosh guy popped off, and I literally just made it for like to make like 200 people laugh that I knew from touring, you know, like on like Instagram. I was like, no one's going to care about this. And then it was like crazy. People loved it. And I was like, oh, that is, I did not expect that, but that's kind of the way things happen. You just start trying stuff and doing stuff. And I had learned what I liked to do and what I didn't like to do after doing years and years and years, after doing like 2 years of social media, like TikTok, like all the time. Like I was just determined to make social media work because I had never had an agent or like a manager or anything like that. I was never able to get like a rep or like for any of the things I want to do, like writing or acting or whatever. I was never able to get anything like that. just from submitting or things like that. So eventually I was like, all right, my best chance is social media because it seems like this is like the way that a lot of people are doing things. So my best chance is this. I'm going to make it work on this because I knew if I just kept doing it, I would figure it out. And so I had been doing it for a while when I moved out here.
Okay. So you come up with the Mosh retirement character, and it seems like it was pure. Like you had there's like, I'm not gonna do this. It's gonna go viral. So this is funny. You didn't have any. Do you finish it? You look at it. You're posting like, you have no thought or feeling that this might connect.
No, I have no idea. I just am like, I think this is funny. Like, whatever. This is like a very niche thing that my friends and I would joke about or whatever.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was not planning for it at all. In fact, I had other characters that I'd written that I was like, these are going to do better. And it'd get like 3,000 views. I'm like, hey, that's doing pretty good. Like this,
sick.
That one's crushing it, and that one was like, this is more for me. This is just something that I think is funny. And then it was like, whoa, what the hell's going on? Like all these people are like, sharing it and all this stuff and following me. It's crazy.
Hilarious, dude.
Yeah. So, so that's kind of like where that started.
It's funny because we've all you did it because you wanted to do it, which makes sense because so many people talk about that. Oh, dude, this band might get me.
Yeah,
I might come out of Mosh retirement.
Yeah, I
so
know.
We've all like said it in like our small circles.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just so. But it's funny though.
Yeah,
so we're all like 30s. Like, hey, we might, Burnout's back. I mean, I might mosh, dude.
Yeah, dude, straight up. Yeah,
this is fucking.
I know.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't realize that. Like, I don't know. I didn't realize it. But when people liked it, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I can make more stuff like this. I got plenty of. I was touring for a long time. I'm like going to show. I have plenty of material to make. Stuff that I like. Like this is it's not about stuff that I don't know about. It's not about stuff that I don't connect with, like the previous series that I did. This stuff I can do. Like, and I do characters about music. Like I do like, there's like this emo guy character who's like, his girlfriend's cheating on him all the time. Yeah. This is like one of my, this one doesn't do as well as my other ones, but I love this guy because his girlfriend's always cheating on him. And he's like, he's just like so sad. Yeah. But yeah, so I do like that. But then I'll write characters for myself again. Like I'm like, okay, I don't want to get caught in the thing where I'm only doing this thing because people like it. And so I'm like, okay, I got to keep up doing things that I like and putting it out, even if it doesn't do as good as the other stuff. I can't get like attached to something doing really good. It's like, all right, well, I still got to do what I think is funny and what I like. And then even if that means like sometimes people are like, do more Mosh guy stuff or whatever. It's like,
it's tough. Dude.
Yeah. It's like, all right, well, like I will, I made a whole damn short film, about it. Like, but it's like, I get tired of it. Like, so it's like, maybe I'd stop for like 6 months and then do a fucking another Mosh guy video. But I'm going to do it whenever it feels fun and natural to me, because then I don't want to do it and it feels forced. And then people are like, that sucks, whatever.
Yeah, people will know.
Totally. Yeah. They read it. And like, I don't know exactly, but there's a couple videos where I feel like maybe I was like maybe too like burnt out and I didn't quite feel it as much as I did. And maybe people felt it or didn't. Like I wasn't quite there, but I learned. I was like, okay, I'm getting to the point where I'm like tired of this, so I need to take a break, So yeah, I learned my lesson the first time, and now I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's really tough. It takes a lot of self-awareness to know when you're burnt out, because sometimes I'm like, am I burnt out or am I lazy? Am I procrastinating? Am I depressed?
Yeah.
Do I need to stop being a bitch? Sometimes it's like I still struggle to find that balance. Like, what is this? Am I burnt out right now? Am I not? I don't know. It's tough knowing when you're actually burnt out, or like you just got to get past that plateau.
Yeah, because sometimes you're right. Sometimes it's like, okay, well, like I'm in a plateau. I know that I just need to keep going until I figure out the next thing. But sometimes you're like, I'm so burnt out that nothing sounds good or whatever. It's like, okay, but is that like a trick? And it's I think that's just part of like being creative, is like doing music or whatever. It's like it's just hard, you just, the only and I don't have it figured out. Like I don't always know when there's definitely times when I've been burnt out, like doing stuff, and like I'll look at the video and I'll like, there's a video that I didn't even put out that I made like a long time ago that it was at that time when I was so burnt out, and I made it, and I'm looking back, it's like I'm just like dead behind the eyes, and I'm like, I'm not gonna put this out, even though I wrote it and like shot it. Like I don't feel like I'm just not gonna, and I've never really done that. I always just put stuff out, but I was just like, I looked at myself and I was like, I look dead behind the eyes. Like I'm not, really? I can't do it. I just gotta like stop and take a break for a little bit or whatever.
Huh.
Yeah. I just looked at my eyes and I was like, does that look like a guy who's having fun? I don't think so.
Wow. It's crazy how you can see that.
Yeah. I mean,
it sucks.
Yeah. Do you ever feel that? Like, you look at yourself, you like,
oh yeah,
you write and you look at yourself and you're like, that guy looks like there's nothing going on back there. Like he just doesn't have nothing right now.
Yeah. It shows up on the face.
Yeah.
First. So you just look more stressed.
Yeah.
I won't get too far into it because I want to tell your story. But yeah, so I'm 38. This past week, today is fine. I was actually worried about today a little bit. I'd never been depressed in my fucking life.
Oh, really?
Last week, something weird hit me because it sparked the thought because we're talking about burnout. So like, I'm burnt out, and like went like go to gym. Something was different. I was like, something you don't want to do that. Okay, you just couldn't go, not be lazy, but it was different. Like just being like a zombie, just a zombie. Then going back home and taking these long ass naps.
Yeah,
couldn't get out of bed. I was like, what?
Sounds like depression.
Like what timeout? What the fuck is this? I didn't know because I'm so kind of used to not being lazy or just getting all right. I'm just being lazy. Get out my fucking lazy ass. Start working on something. But this was different.
Yeah,
this was something like knock me out. So I have a newfound awareness and respect for people that go through that. Because I'm always like, I was like, if you're depressed, just get up and go to the fucking gym.
Yeah.
Now I experienced that's what I did, and it actually didn't work.
Totally.
I was like, wow. Now I have a whole other like perspective. I need to process that still.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, dude, scary.
No, dude, I don't deal with depression at all. I have anxiety problems. Like like my mental problems are anxiety, but my wife deals with depression. So I've learned a lot from her. And in watching her, the way that she and I both deal with our issues, it's like, okay, like I see that we are very different. Like what depression is to you is like anxiety is completely different to me. So it's like, it's helped me understand more like what people going through depression are. Because I was the same way. It's like, oh, just get up and go to the gym or whatever. And meanwhile, like I'm at the gym like with like a 7 out of 10 anxiety, that just like going to war in my brain, like just like, you know what I mean? Like this is not healthy either, you know? Like remember the first time I got on like antidepressants, the doctor was like, what do you feel like from a 0 to 10? Like what do you think you're on? I was like, oh, like a 7 most days. And she was like, a 7 like out of 10? I was like, yeah. And I was like, people aren't like that? Like that's not normal? She's like, no, it's not normal to be at a 7 like all the time. I was like, oh, all right.
Oh shit.
So that's when I went. I had like lost one of my best friends at the time, and I realized I had had anxiety my whole life, but I never like talked to anyone about it. So that's when I started going to therapy. Anyways, all that to say, yeah, and now I respect what people with depression go through because I've seen how my wife and other friends of mine deal with it.
Mm-hmm. How do you work on your anxiety?
Pills.
Fuck,
taking antidepressants. Shit, not all the time. Not all the time. I'm on them now because of like all the stress.
Does gym help? Does the gym help?
Gym helps. Yeah, totally. Gym, everything helps. Gym, we take lots of walks. I walk like miles and miles per day. Gym a lot. But just all the stress of being a parent and all that stuff, like new parent, like, I got back on them because I didn't really like, I was seeing in my wife and I's relationship that like both of our mental issues were like affecting each other because we were like not sleeping and not really able to go to the gym that much because like you have a kid and it's different when they're a baby and like we used to be able to go to gym like every day and now it's like shit, like, okay, you can go now, but then like, all right, then I'll go after you, but damn, there's no time. Or like, well, why don't you just go? And then it's like, I'll try and go tomorrow. And like, so it's harder to get that in consistently. So I was like, I got back on antidepressants for the first time in like since 2017. I was on them for like a year in 2017, 2018 when I moved from Chicago to New York. Mm-hmm. But I'm back on them now, and I'm not going to be on them forever. But it's basically it's just like I look at it as a tool. The gym is a tool, walking as a tool, eating healthy. I'm like I eat pretty healthy most of the time, but you know, mm-hmm. sometimes I eat like I don't know. I like to eat nasty shit sometimes. You know, I like to eat wings and pizza and like whatever. I like to eat terrible
for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, what's the point of life if I can't eat like some dirty ass wings? You know, like I don't know. But gym helps. I don't know. As far as anxiety goes, my wife actually said something to me one time that was like really helpful, which is like at the end of the day, it's just feelings. Like it can't hurt you, right? Like So I was like, all right, these are just things I'm feeling or thoughts or whatever. I don't have to act on these thoughts. I don't have to do anything with them. I just have to wait about. And like at the end of the day, like they're just thoughts and feelings, you know, like and I know that that's all they are. Like I know that I'm in control of my actions and whatever. So I can, I don't have to do anything about it. I just have to acknowledge that they're there, and that's it. And I've done talk therapy for years on and off. And so I have a lot of tools as far as like cognitive behavioral theory, cognitive behavioral therapy that
That's
use.
A tongue twister.
Yeah. Which is like a way to like reframe negative thoughts or like negative thinking patterns or whatever.
CBT, is that a
CBT? Yeah.
Yeah, it helps you identify and challenge unhelpful thoughts and to learn practical self-help strategies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first time I got on antidepressants, I was having panic attacks like every other day, basically.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So, and I was not in a mental place to be able to use any tools that I was learning in therapy. So my therapist was like, you should maybe think about getting on meds because it will take you down a notch to the point where you can start using some of these tools. And so I was on meds for a while. I don't know. I don't remember what I took, but I was on it for a while, and then it just took everything down a notch. And it took everything down a notch and allowed me to implement the tools I was learning in therapy. So then once I got off them, I was like, okay, I have the tools now. So now I know what to do. I didn't know what to do before. I was like just in survival mode, having panic attacks all the time. So now I'm good, you know, or whatever. So now I'm on it again for a different reason, just because I can't do all the things that I would normally do to make myself feel better, like going to the gym and all this stuff. Like I do go to the gym, but not as often as I would have before I had a kid. Or I'm still figuring out like when, you know, like how, like, do I just always go at bedtime or whatever? I don't know. But yeah, so I'm not against people like taking meds or whatever. Like I think if it helps you, you know, whatever, it's a tool. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going through real life shit. It's like everything kind of goes out the window right when you have like, now you're bringing in a wife. Now there's a child involved. You know,
yeah. Well, it's like
balance that.
Yeah. Well, it's like your partner becomes the mirror of you, right? So like you are constantly, your partner is kind of like a mirror that is held up, and you see all the parts about yourself that like only someone that is around you 24 hours a day would see. You know, like they're
True.
like, did you know that you do this? Like
all the terrible things?
Totally. Yeah. You're like, did you know that you always do this when this happens? And
you're like, no, I don't.
No, I don't do that.
I don't do that within that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And you're like, no, that's not it. This is for a different reason, you know?
Yeah. And then we realize.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, you're like, all right, I got to do something so I don't like drive my partner crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I never, I guess my next question is, what exactly is, I never had a panic attack either. What is that? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because one of my band members has an issue.
Really?
I was like, you're all right, man?
Yeah. And it's like, so to me, it felt like I'm, it doesn't necessarily start because something happened. It's like when I had a therapist describe it as like when everything in your life is too much and you're not able to deal with it, these emotions are going to come out somehow. So they're either going to come out like if they can't all come out in a healthy way, they're going to start coming out like the side, or basically, it's like it's like steam coming out of like a whatever. There's cracks in something, so it's like a panic attack is like, at least to when the manifestation of like all these emotions and things that you can't deal with that are out of your control, whatever, the things that are going on in your life just sort of coming up, like coming out and physically. So it's like my chest gets tight, my heart starts beating like a lot. And then it's like, I feel like I can't breathe. Like I feel like I'm going to die, whatever. And then all those feelings of like anxiety and like, oh my God, like I can't breathe, like make it worse.
Yeah.
But in when then I learned, it's like, okay, I just need to wait 20 minutes. Like the panic attack is usually over by 20 minutes. So if you can wait 20 minutes, it should pretty much be subsiding, So that's what it feels like. I remember I would get it like on the train. I'd be going to work in Chicago and it'd be like the train would be stopped and it's like I would just get a panic attack and I'd be like, I got to get out and get fresh air. And I couldn't. I just like sit there and have to breathe. I've got it. Like I would just like, I was talking to my wife on the phone one time, like in Chicago and like just walking down the street and I started getting one and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, so that's what prompted me to seek like antidepressants because I was like, I can't live like this, and I can't have any kind of life if I'm doing this all the time. I need to like just get through until all the things that are stressful, like I become more used to them or like they changed or whatever. My therapist now is like describes it as until I have more information, like to get me to the point where I have more information about what's happening. Like I might not know everything about what's going on in my life right now, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to get better or whatever. I just have to wait until I have more information. Like I don't have all the information right now. I don't know what it's going to be like 6 months from now, a year from now, but I have faith that things will get better and things will work out. And I just got to, keep going until I have more information about what's happening in my life.
What, like, is it like a past childhood trauma? Like what? Like,
I don't know. I think that nothing like real, like, I think that it's just like a chemical imbalance, really. Like I don't have like I have family problems like everyone else, but nothing that's like easy to point to, it's just kind of like a combination. And I think it's just a chemical imbalance, like I've just always dealt with it. I think undiagnosed for a long time. And then once a therapist kind of like told me about what it's called like generalized anxiety disorder, which like everyone has, but like not everyone, but like if you have anxiety, you probably have like GAD, but I just think it's a chemical imbalance. Really. It doesn't like, if I'm not on meds, like I know, like I feel it all the time, but if I'm not on meds, I'd probably sit at like a 5 or 6 most days, even if I'm not showing it outwardly. So you just have to learn to like deal with it. It's not like something that I can just like point to in therapy and talk about. Then it's like, I figured it out. I'm good. So yeah.
When you make these big life decisions, like let's say, go to Chicago, New York, or going to California too, because you're basically like pursuing like your dream.
Yeah.
Do you think, I always wondered, like, do you think that makes your personal shit like that worse, or do you think it doesn't affect it? I think it does.
Yes, it does.
I think everything you do that's not in the norm just exaggerates. Totally.
It's 100% makes it worse all the time. But
what am I doing? Oh shit, I'm fucking up. Oh shit.
Totally. Yeah. It's like, or like, it's like, oh, I'm, moving, or like moving is like one of the most stressful things that anybody can do. Like it's like on like scientifically like one of the most stressful things. And I've done it like, we've done it like every 2 years for like the past forever long.
I cannot do that.
Yeah. So it definitely makes it worse. It's like, but the way, I guess I just, in my mind, I feel like I haven't really had an option not to, because it's like, there's things I want to do more than like not feel like anxiety all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so there's things I want to do more than that. So I just do the thing I want to do because I want to do that more. And it definitely makes it worse, but I don't know. I've done it a lot, so now I know what it feels like. It's like, it's going to be really stressful for like a year, and then, I'll figure it out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You're Stanley's fucking crazy. It's sick, dude. It's sick.
I'm sick in the head, dude. I'm sick.
Well, you kind of have to be to,
Yeah.
Just kind of just go with your gut. You kind of have to be.
You have to be a little bit of a sick fuck.
Sick, nutty, every word.
Well, you have to be. I mean, even like touring in bands, dude. Like you have to be a
just
little bit sick to like do that. It's like, who in their right? People will be like, "Oh, I want a tour." It's like, do you? Like, have you been on a tour? Have you spent like 30 days in a van, like a shitty van with like guys that smell bad and you're eating terribly and all this stuff? It's like,
Yeah.
a lot of people think, and then it's like you get in them doing it and you're like, okay, like I must really love this to push through like all the parts that suck.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts that suck.
Yeah.
It's I mean, everything in life has a price, I mean, you pursuing what you want to pursue, I mean, that's probably adding some more stress in your life, but that's the thing, but that's what's fucked up about humans. We want these highs, these high moments, but we're not going to accept the equal or lower lows that will probably come with that high.
No,
it's crazy.
It's true. There is a price for everything, for sure. I mean, and you also, like, if you want to get something that is hard, that is hard to do, you're gonna have to pay the price of like to get there. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to sacrifice, and you're gonna have to, like, in some way, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to pay some kind of price to get there. It's like you don't get to like be in a successful band you don't just start a band, then all of a sudden you're like successful. You know what I mean? Like, and even if you are, like, you're really not. Like, even if you like jump and then immediately, you're not gonna skip shit because shit is gonna catch up with you. Like,
true.
I know people that like have gotten like bands or people I know from like comedy or whatever that get like a huge opportunity or whatever, and they're not ready for it, and they and it's like fuck it up or whatever, or like, a band like gets a huge tour because they pop or whatever, then it's like, but they've never been on tour before, and they just like they fuck it, they mess it up. They don't know how to live in a van together, and like not kill each other. They don't know how to like manage things. Like you have to take the pain of like all the dumb shit to get to the point of like the stuff that you want to do. Everything does have a cost. You're right.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. Totally.
You're in California,
dude. It's worth it just to be here. I love California. It's my favorite place I've ever lived by far.
By far.
Yeah, by far.
Well, that's good to hear. People, I don't know, they're just shitting all over California. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out.
Get out of here, dude. California is the best. It's like, it's more expensive here. That's because everyone wants to live here. That's because all the stuff is here. We have all the different kinds of nature you could possibly want. It's like, you have the beach. Like, dude, I feel like I was born to live here. All my skin problems cleared up when I moved here.
Serious?
Yeah, all my allergies gone. I haven't had an allergy.
I never heard that. Holy shit,
dude! I've had terrible allergies my whole life. Growing up from Kentucky, Chicago, New York, Virginia. I moved here. I haven't had to take a single allergy pill in 2 years.
What?
My skin cleared up completely. I always had like super dry skin or whatever. I moved out here. I just put coconut oil on it, and it's like I'm good. Like, I don't have to do anything. It's like coconut oil and sunscreen. Like, everything cleared. All my like health stuff cleared up. I moved out here. It's great. I love the beach. I love hiking. I love being at parks. There's all kinds of parks.
Wow. I never heard of that in my life, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, California to me, like, as being from Kentucky, I remember like coming to California was like a big deal, because I had visited a couple times when I was little, like doing stuff, but like being in California, like on tour, because, driving into it for the first time, I remember that being like, whoa, dude, we are across the country. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And we were like, we can go to the beach. Like, we're going to get in and out. Like, this is great.
Big moment.
It was a big moment, huge moment. So to me, California still feels like so cool. Like, man, I live here. I live in LA. Like, I wanted to live here for forever. Like, I wanted to drive everywhere, and like whatever. Like, I hate driving, but like, I'll take the nature and everything. You know what I mean?
It's so cool, man.
It's the best.
I'll drive up here in the freeway and just look at the hills and just trip out. I'm like, wow,
dude, it's rocks.
Wow, this is sick.
I know.
I live in California, man.
Dude, it's the best. I love like driving from like, because we go to Griffith Park a lot, and we'll drive like through Burbank, and it's like I love looking at the mountains.
The best.
I'm like, this is the best, man. Like, this is so great. And I'm walking through Griffith Park, like, feels like I'm in another world. I'm like, this is one of my favorite places on earth. Like that's why I film like all our videos there. First of all, because I don't bother anyone, you know. I don't really like to do stuff that much in public because I don't like to like bother people, but yeah, everything is at Griffith Park, basically. Yeah, pretty much. Different parking lots or whatever. Because I'll film like a bunch of stuff on one day.
Yeah.
I'll film like 4 or 5 characters on one day, and then just like edit them over the next couple months.
How do you prep for that?
I write them all out basically because I'll improvise some stuff as I'm doing it, but I'll write it all out on I'll just write them all out like in a Google Doc or whatever. I'll print it out, and then I'll like prep. I'm like, all right, well, I got to wear something different in each video because otherwise it'll look like I filmed it on the same day.
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, all right, I'll pack my backpack or my bag, and I'll pack whatever I'm going to wear. And then I'll go and meet up with a friend, and like I'll film some videos for him because he does comedy stuff too. He'll film some stuff for me.
Oh,
and then
cool.
we'll just trade or whatever. And yeah, I'll just do it all because I hate doing stuff like every time I need to do it. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go and bank a bunch of stuff, like write a bunch of shit and just do it.
Best
and then
way
it's
to do
done.
Well, so how long is the what's this even word? The pre-process. So what is it? You doing like a full day? Doing like a week before you go to like the park? I mean, what's the?
So I start with I have a Google Doc where I write down just the premise for if I haven't have an idea for a premise, I just write it in a Google Doc or I email it to myself and then I'll later put it in a Google Doc. So I'll just write one that I'm probably gonna film soon is this is super niche, but guy walking towards you who's it's gonna be a better headline than this, but it's a guy walking towards you whose walking pattern you can't predict, you know, and it's always and you trying to get out of their way.
Oh,
yeah. Has that ever happened to you? It's like people on the phone and they're and they're walking and you're like, dude, I'm trying to get around you. And they're just somehow always getting, but they're not they're running fast or they slow down right when you need to get past them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone else will think it's funny, but I think it's funny. So I'll write that premise, even if it's long or whatever. It's all right. And then once I know that I'm I'll plan the day to shoot stuff without knowing what I'm going to shoot. It's all right, in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I'm going to shoot on this day for however long. So then I'm when it gets closer, maybe the week before, sometimes even the couple days before, I'm all right, what am I going to shoot? I'll go through my doc and pick stuff, pick 2 or 3, 4, whatever. If they're quick, 4, and I'll just write them out. I'll just sit or I'll go if I go to the gym, I'll go on the treadmill and I'll just do the incline and I'll just write on my phone.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I'll just write on the treadmill, on the incline, walking, whatever. On my phone, writing them out, characters, lines or whatever, and then
dope.
Actions, because I'm a lot of stuff. I really like being physical on stuff, so I'll write out just some ideas for how I physically think this would go. But yeah, so I'll just write it all out basically, and then I'll improvise stuff along the way. Or I might have a general. If I really have a good idea of the premise and I know it's not going to be a super long thing, I'll just one of the videos I did recently was a guy, a mechanic that you go to and you just can't understand anything he's saying. Yeah. So that I just had the premise for. It was I don't need to write anything because there's no words. So I just had my friend film me, and I'm just gonna do this, and we'll film for 5 minutes, and I'll edit it down to 45 seconds, or maybe not even 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes sometimes.
This makes sense though, man, because you have so much experience of just going off the cuff.
Yeah.
You literally went to a different state to really hone in on his style. Wow, dude.
Yeah, I mean it. Once I start going, then it's stuff starts coming to me, and I'll just do that or add stuff in, and I'll write some stuff just to keep me on track, But yeah, I'll just I'll get the premise and I'll go, and then sometimes I'll write a lot if I want it to be a specific way, or sometimes I'll just kind of do a pretty basic thing like that. There's no I didn't write any of that. I just was all right, just film me in your car, pull up here and then just keep filming me, and I'll do stuff, and then I'll just eventually be all right, I'm done. I'm stop.
So so let's say for a example, you're okay, I always see this shit. Oh, maybe tour past local band.
Oh yeah,
going
totally.
on tour. So
yeah,
what?
yeah.
It's just this already came to you and you put it down as a premise or what?
Yeah, so I always thought it was funny that like local bands like would, or like a band would be like, yeah, dude, we're going on tour, you know, and they like get tour passes made at FedEx, and it would be like they pay like, you know, and they would just like, I was like, okay, I got to do this character. So I'd write some stuff down that I think is funny, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 lines or whatever, and then I'll just improvise stuff. And it's like sometimes I'll just, as I'm going, I'll think of things and whatever. That's like where a lot of that for me is where a lot of like the magic or the fun comes, is when I'm just like going, and then like stuff starts happening, and it's as I'm talking, you know, because I don't really necessarily know what I'm going to say next. Because that's like a lot of improv is that, like, I don't always know. I just start talking, you know, like that's like a big thing that I learned about how, because I didn't learn how to have fun doing improv until I learned that like I just have to start talking. Like I just have to walk on stage like they would teach you at Annoyance Theater. It's like kind of more like the punk rock, like an improv theater.
Yeah.
So they teach you to like, okay, like if I'm not in the scene, all I have to do, I'm not playing anything or whatever, I can give myself like something like, it's called a gift. You can give yourself a gift. Like maybe one thing you know about yourself, like I just know I'm pissed off and I don't know what it's about yet. But I just take a step out and I just start talking. So it's like, oh man, I just can't wait to go back to the baseball game. It was so sucked. It sucked. And you just like, it's like, okay, wait, I'm pissed now. Like I'm talking about the baseball game. And it's like, I just like talking and just starting and seeing where it goes, you know? Because sometimes you'll find stuff. Like at the longer it goes on, you'll find stuff inevitably, you know? But I just had to get comfortable just trusting myself and trusting that. And it's like a skill that like a muscle I had to learn. But yeah, it's fun. I like to do it.
That's sick. Well, obviously it's sick, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, so there is a reason why you're here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it comes out. Wait, no. So this comes out Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, the podcast comes out Monday. So you're listening, watching it. It's already out, and you're gonna release it, the Moshumentary, on your own personal YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So it's coming out Friday at noon.
Sick.
PST, noon PST, Pacific Standard Time. So you don't know what that is. So for free, it was crowdfunded, and then I had sponsors. So like Pabst Blue Ribbon, Grillo's Pickles, Overcast merch, and Lamb Goat. They like sponsored in different ways to help me get it made. Because once again, if we're talking about like doing things without knowing, just kind of going off my gut, like I did crowdfunding for it, but I didn't get enough to fully finish it. I got enough to shoot it. I didn't have enough to do all the post stuff like color, like sound mix, like all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'll figure that out later. I'm just going to shoot it. And then I trust that I'll figure out how to finish it later. And then I was like, all right, well, you know, I've worked with some different brands and met different people through doing like social media work or like paid promo stuff. So I was like, you know what? Like I'm going to ask if people want to sponsor it for a certain amount, because I know that I'll put it in the trailer or whatever, and people watch it, and like, so it's good exposure. So that's how I ended up funding the post-production, was like through sponsorships. But I shot it knowing that I didn't have enough to finish it. And I was like, I'll just figure that out later. I'll figure out how to finish it later.
Man, you just go, man. I don't know how I'm gonna finish it, but I'm going to shoot it. You know what? That's a great quality to have, because that will stop most people.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I could have stopped it at that point. I thought about it. I was like, I didn't raise the amount that I would want to raise. Man, I'll just cancel it. But I'm like, nah, man, like people crowdfunded like $10,000 to like help get this thing made. Like,
yeah,
they're invested in it, and it would be like disappointing to like get it back. I'm like,
totally.
I'm just not going to make it. I was like, nah, like screw that. I'm just going to like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to shoot it, and then I'll figure out how to finish it later. Like, whatever. And then I just like, I trust that like as I'm doing it, like the answer will come to me, you know?
Wow, that's the way to do it, man.
And then I was like,
cool.
And I was like, okay, I think that, you know, for sponsors, it's pretty cool, you know? It's like
pretty dope.
Yeah, like whatever. Because I would do a press release for it, and they would be in it, and I'm very grateful that people came in that wanted to sponsor it and help me finish it out. Like, so yeah, I was like, I'll figure it out later. Yeah, and I also didn't know, like I have a bunch of like, I have cameos from different people from bands in it and stuff. I didn't know who I was gonna get like to do it. Like I knew some people maybe, but it's like some people dropped out or whatever, or didn't have time. So I was like, all right, I'll figure it out later. And then I shot it all, and then I knew I had to fit in testimonials, like cameos from people in different bands. And I was like, all right, I'll figure out what I want them to say later. Like I'll watch it, and then I'll just tell them what to say to fit in these different parts. Because I just have them send me videos, and I would put it in. Like, so I didn't even know. I was like, I had to watch it all, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm going to need this person from this band to say this person from this band to say that, and that'll help tie everything together or whatever. So I just had to figure it out. Like, I was like, I know I'll figure it out once I get in the edit.
Wow. Man, you're just going.
Yeah.
Shout out to 1720. It was cool.
Oh, dude.
The venue,
That's another thing. I was like, a friend of mine, Brandon Dermer, he's a director and he's directed a lot of music videos and stuff. He was like, I was like, dude, I got to film it at a venue. I don't have any connects at venues. And he was like, let me contact the people at 1720. And it's like, whatever. I just paid them to rent the space until a certain time when bands started loading in, and we shot there 2 days, and it was great. Like they were awesome, But it's like I didn't have a location in mind when we started doing it. I was like, I'll figure it out. You just figure it out. Like I think it does stop a lot of people I think it stops a lot of people if they don't know how it's going to end to start it. They're like, oh, I don't know how this is going to completely get done at the end. It's like, all right, well. You'll figure it out. You can figure it out. If you really want to do it, you'll figure it out.
It's true. Yeah, people want to see the whole staircase, but all you need is like a glimpse of the first step, dude.
Really? Yeah.
If I see a glimpse of the first step, I'm taking it.
Yeah, like you just get a feeling about it. You're like, all right, I think this is working. I trust that this is the way to go. Everything else I'll figure out, and I'll wait till I have more information, basically. That's what my therapist says.
That was a good way to circle back, man.
Yeah.
Impressive. Well, yeah, so I'm going to put the link in the description, or if you choose, you could stop watching the podcast right now because it's out right now on your personal YouTube. What's the name of the YouTube channel?
Stanley WS 91, I think is my...
Cool.
Yeah, Stanley WS 91, because I was born in 1991, and that was my YouTube thing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's sick. I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Mosh coming out of Mosh retirement. How old is too old?
I think that if you were to get hurt and it would like make it so your wife and kids could not like, you would like not like provide food, like put food on the table. Like perhaps you should like think again, But at the same time, like I went it to like when I saw Beyond Repair recently, like just like old members of Throwdown, like playing like
same. Yeah. I was there. That was actually, I was like, that was a balance. Like, am I going to come out?
Dude, straight up. That's what I was like. I was like, I was like up, like singing along and stuff. I was like, I love these songs, like old Throwdown and stuff.
Fuck.
So yeah, I think that like, I don't know. I can't tell you how old's too old, but I think you'll know if you're like, man, if I get hurt right now, people are not gonna be eating.
Who's someone that's going hard? Aaron Hurd from a Genius Piece. He still goes hard. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? Some people are just built different.
Dude, some people are like I know myself, and I know that I would get hurt like immediately. Yeah. So I just like it just is what it is. Like I just think that I would get hurt. I'll sing along and stuff. I'll be in the front. But yeah, I just
mid-20s maybe.
Yeah, mid-20s. Oh, I used to mosh all the time. I used to mosh. You couldn't stop me from moshing in my 20s. But now it's like I like it, but I don't know. I just I'm like I really don't want to get hurt and not be able to like work or do other stuff, And it's like if I get hurt, I'm gonna have to go home and be like, sorry, you're gonna have to do everything with the kid. Like, blah, I hurt myself moshing to whatever, But
Donnie Brooks came back because I gotta.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe late 20s.
Yeah. If it's a young man's game for sure.
It is. I mean, if you wanna get like the juice from it, which I've done. The last time I pitted was year and a half ago, 2 years ago. But just going to a D-side pit, push a little bit for like 10 seconds. Okay, I got my fix. I'm out.
Yeah. I got in there. I got the juice from it. And I'm good.
I'm not hardcore dancing, dude. I'm doing some like some drunk push moshing.
Yeah. That's the fun part.
Yeah, nothing that's gonna. Yeah, the slam dancing, dude. There's just so much room for error and for injury. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's like an injury now would like be very different for me. An injury when I was like 20s, I was like, whatever. I'll just
20.
Like,
I'll get better. It's fun.
Yeah, and now it's like I would recover from it, but I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I'm just like, I want to be able to take walks. You know what I mean? I don't want to.
Walking's cool.
Yeah, walking is rad. Hiking is cool, like all that stuff. I want to be able to do that.
What show did you go to? I went to the one at the Garden Amp when Throwdown played for the first time.
I went to the Knocked Loose show at midnight hour. I went to Knocked Loose.
Oh, sick.
Mongrel, Cosmic Joke. There was another band that played too. I forget. I don't remember. But I went to that show, and
nice.
So yeah, I was like kind of moshing to Beyond Repair. But yeah, there's photos out there somewhere. Like I don't remember. Someone took photos of it. I'm sure.
You're just asking for it. That's a great lineup, man.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, Twitching Tongues. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew that I was like missing like one of the main bands.
I'm so glad they're back playing those songs, man. That EP, Drive Me Dead, is like a big one for my childhood.
So good. I really like. I just like the vocals, like on like the first like Throwdown records. Like the vocals are like
special.
Yeah, like his vocals are really good. Like that song "Slip" is like one of my favorite hardcore songs of all time. Like it's so good.
It's fucking badass.
Great. Yeah.
Well, Stanley, we're hitting an hour and a half. Is there anything on your mind that you want to get out there?
I think that, we were talking about this before the show. Somebody's got to find the original Destruction of a Statue YouTube clip that I watched.
Okay.
That I learned about Suicide Silence from, because I like some deathcore. I like some metalcore. What would you consider Suicide Silence a deathcore band or a death metal band?
It's deathcore, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah,
deathcore is what do you call it? It's like a death metal Happy Meal.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Exactly.
Got it from me. Like, that's a good way to put it, man.
Yeah, it's just like, sometimes what's missing from death metal is just a real breakdown. You know what I mean? You're waiting through all these blast beats and shit, and you're like, give me something. Give me something. That's why like Suffocation is so good, because they give you like the breakdown,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got to find this original Destruction of a Statue clip that introduced me to Suicide Silence and deathcore in general. I was like, whoa, this somebody. Because you basically kind of pioneered it, right?
I guess it depends who you ask, but yeah, I guess we're pillars.
Because I would I guess attribute it, like I remember like Job for a Cowboy like EP.
Yeah,
and then, you guys.
Yeah, I guess you say we both put it. I guess we made it like mainstream. I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I got to find that clip because it's incredible, and I still can't find it.
It's on there somewhere. YouTube is a fucking sea of this fucking internet.
Someone will find it, maybe I will. Who knows?
So the documentary is out now.
Yeah,
out now. So because if you're listening right now, it's Monday. You're listening the first day, so it's out right now.
Yep.
On Stanley's personal YouTube channel for free.
Yep. And if you don't, it's free. So if you like it, hit me with a like. Hit me with a share. If that's your thing. Or don't hit me with anything. Just watch it or don't do anything at all. It's up to you.
Or pick up some merch at least.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do like a limited print of like the poster, like a screen print of it.
Oh great.
Yeah. Because I wanted to do something for it, and I'm
fucking sticker, dude.
I'm working on
retirement sticker, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm working on VHS tapes of it.
Oh
so
my!
We'll
of course you are.
Yeah, it's gonna be like now in Mosho Vision. So I don't know if anyone will buy it, but I'm gonna make like 50 and then like see whatever.
You never know. Who knows?
Yeah,
you don't know, man. People collect weird shit these days.
I know. I really want one, and it's like whatever the minimum is. Like I'm just gonna do that. So yeah,
hell yeah. Well, Stanley, thank you for your time and sharing your story.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Thank you, man, for having me on. Appreciate it.
Anytime. All right, everyone. That's it. Later.